Hello, YouTube friends. Ben Ochart here. Thank you so much for tuning in. And today I want to speak with you about this. This is a canister made by SunSun. This particular one is not the most powerful one in the line. This is not the 3000. This is the 704B. And the 704B is a very powerful canister. I like it. I have no problem priming this thing. I never have to use this button. As long as you have it full and you start it up, the motor is powerful enough to get the water going. And you might need to just rock it a little bit just to get the air out of it, but otherwise this thing just starts right up. It is a beast of a canister. I've been really happy with it. This particular one I use exclusively on the exclusively as a mechanical filter, and by that what I mean is what's inside of it. And when you open these, you have to be careful because you do have a light, a UV. It's like a 9-watt UV light, and so you have to just be careful, make sure you don't bang that on something. And but what I have in here right now is exclusively just filters, sponge filters that I'm using to help with keeping the 150 clean. You can see here there's a buildup of detritus and waste on here. This has been running for months, and you have 4 of these large canisters. There's been some talk about how the UV light will burn or melt the plastic. I have had no problem with that whatsoever. I run the UV light on weekends. I don't run it for very long periods of time. And so in here I have a ton of sponge and sponge fragments and junk that just helps to stop the detritus from coming through. This is the very bottom, and as you can imagine, it is the filthiest, the dirtiest of all, and I'm not sure if you can really make it out from there, but let's see. You can see there. And what I'm doing is I'm using the concept of going from a coarse and then a medium and then a fine, so I'm doing it throughout this canister. Now, the first thing to know when you're using canisters is the water flow pattern. Like, how is the water flowing through your canister? And in this case, of course, the water is coming down, and it's coming down through this tube here, which also has the UV light. So you have the water going by the UV light, and the UV light is supposed to be killing microbial problems and bacteria, things of this nature. Some say that the water is passing too quickly past the UV light in a SunSun to make any real significant difference, but it does clarify a little bit. But I'm not using that light really that often. I'm not counting on that light for clarification, even though I do run it on weekends, and that's the extent of it. Because of that, I'll get a couple years of life out of the UV lights and don't have to replace them that often. They are encased in a glass case, and which protects them. So at any rate, you can see here this is just sponges. If I was using this as exclusively as my filter, what I would do is I would have because the water travels through the baskets to the bottom and then is pulled back up by the motor, what I would do is at the bottom I would have sponges that the water has to push through to come up, and those sponges would be coarse, medium, and then fine. And then in the middle I would have some biological, whatever you want to use, whatever will grow to your satisfaction. That could be BioHome Ultimate, that could be it could be rings, it could be balls, it could be scrubbers, whatever you want to put in here that will allow bacteria to grow. Okay, matrix, pond matrix. You can also use lava rock, pumice, anything that you would like. So first the sponges to take the big gunk out of the water. Then you have your biological, and then if you want to use chemical, such as your ChemiPure, or maybe something like something like Purigen, put that in the top so it's the last thing that the water touches on the way back to the tank. Okay, this is different from the setup, for example, in an FX, in a Fluval FX6, where the water is being strained through the outside sponges and then is traveling down the middle and then exits through the bottom. Through the bottom is pulled back up to the exit through a tube. So you have to understand the flow direction of a canister so that you can set it up correctly. Okay, that is the first thing you should know about setting up your canister. In this case, water is being pulled to the bottom, past the UV light, and then in the bottom is then being sucked up by the motor through whatever you have in the baskets. In my case, all sponges, because it is strictly mechanical. I have about 100 tons of bio. Okay, I'm exaggerating a little bit. I have a lot of bio media in the sump on that 150 that you're aware of if you watch my channel. And so I've never had a problem with this. The only problem I've ever had is I did break the. Look at the magnet and the. Look at that thing. It's massive. Well, this middle shaft here broke on me one time, and it broke on me because I dropped it. That's the only problem I've had, and it took a while to find one because you just couldn't find aftermarket parts because the filter was too new. Now you can get these for just a few bucks on eBay or Amazon, and it's just a beast of a magnet. Not as big as what you'll find on your Fluval FX6. That thing has a massive magnet and a rotor, on it. But this one is a very good size, pushes a lot of water. Okay, so you should definitely pull this out and give it a good cleaning. Give the entire head unit, the entire motor unit, give it a good scrape down. Some people like to put a little bit of fish safe lubricant on this outside ring. I've never done that, but I do keep it clean, and I've never had a problem with that ring leaking. Even though I have heard reports that some people have had an issue with that. I've never had an issue with that. And so at any rate, there's no reason to be afraid of SunSun canisters, especially when you start to get into this series. And even with the old 302s, which were considerably less they're not as heavy duty, as well constructed, they were still, I thought, good units. I've had no problems with my 302s that I run on my 60-gallon. They run consistently, quiet and strong, and I would recommend them to anybody with a smaller tank. This one here, the 704B, in my opinion, is just a beast of a filter, and I feel in some ways it is comparable to your Fluval FX6 for about half or a third of the cost. So you could put two of these onto a tank for the cost of one FX6, and I think you would end up with a comparable outcome. That is not a knock on the Fluval. I love my Fluval FX6. It really is a beast. It's a big can, and I like it. I like what it does. It does a real good job on the 100. But if you like redundancy, like I do, you like backup systems in the event that one fails, you like to have one running while you clean the other one, then certainly consider getting 2 units. Or if you're like Adam C., you can put 6 FX6s on your... I'm not sure if that's the number exactly. But I just watched Adam C. Check Adam C. out. I love his fish. He's got a big tank, and he's got a whole bunch of Fluvals on there, and he's got a lot of redundancy, a lot of backup, and he can clean one a month and every month and be totally okay. So at any rate, there's no reason. Don't fear the SunSun. The horror stories that I have heard in the past, very often, I would say 70-80% of the time, were more because of user error, or more because the person using it had made a mistake, and maybe they forced the head in incorrectly, the head unit, the motor, maybe something wasn't fastened right, and as a result, they ended up with a problem. Okay, so that's it for me. I strongly recommend these 704Bs. I think they're workhorses, and for me, they've worked out perfectly. I recommend them. I don't get paid by SunSun. I'm not given anything by SunSun. I really don't get anything from anybody. That's not entirely true. I did get sent the algae scrubber from Santa Monica Filtration. Hey, look, this is a different T-shirt than the one I showed a few weeks ago. It has a fish that I still have. My big, I call him my big fat boy, Taiwan Reef, who's just like just a monster. And I raised him from a small little gray pup. Actually, he had some color the first day I got him. He's been kind of an exceptional fish. So at any rate, I will have these available eventually, and they'll be listed at the bottom of my videos as soon as I can find somebody who can do it for me for a price that I can then pass a good price to you. I mean, right now I'd have to ask $25 or more, or 30, and I think that's a ripoff for a T-shirt. I don't care who makes it. Anyway, so that's it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in. You are appreciated. Don't fear the SunSun. If you have any questions about your SunSun filter, go ahead and say them below. Go ahead and comment below. I will respond if I can. If I have the time, I'll get back to you. Okay. All right. That's it for me. Thank you, my friend.